Hello everyone. Hi, Cheryl Arkle, Better Reading. What are you reading? This is our Thursday 2 p.m. segment. Tell me what you're reading. Now, I've had a very, very busy week last week, and I think Verity sat in the chair for me, so thank you, Verity. And I was in Perth. I was at the Joondalup Resort attending the Festival of Fiction. It was absolutely fantastic. I'm going to tell you a little bit more about it later. But meanwhile, tell me what you're reading. What are you reading? I'll tell you what I'm reading. I am reading the new Michael Connelly. I absolutely love Michael Connelly, LA crime book. It is another one of his book, and it's called The Proving Ground. And it throws the Lincoln lawyer into the billion-dollar world of AI, where murder and machines collide. Now, I don't know if you remember, but we had Michael in the office. I think that was last year sometimes. And he did an authors on authors conversation with Candice Fox. And I think we're going to link to that. So we're going to link to that so you can have a look. And this is Michael's new book, and it's called The Proving Ground, and that's out now. So that's what I'm reading. What are you reading? Tell me what you're reading. Okay, this is a beautiful little book. It's a novella. It's by Soren Tay Smith, and it is really one of those books that pulls at your heartstrings. I spoke with Soren recently on a podcast, and that podcast is out now. And Soren, I think, is an academic, and her son died suddenly. I think he was in his 20s, I can't remember. But he died suddenly, and this is a story that she wrote about her grief. It is really beautiful, it is really personal, and I think you're going to like it. It's called Honey from the Ground. And that's out now as well, and the podcast is out now. Okay, hi everyone, Cheryl Arkle. Tell me, what are you reading? What's everyone reading? These are the big release months. We're in October, we've got some big releases coming out that we're going to talk to you about. Then we've got November, which is where all the Christmas titles come out. And then of course we've got December, where all of you get books for Christmas. Nicholas Sparks, that's the next one I've got. It's a supernatural romance, and here it is. It's called Remain, and that's out now. Tell me what you think of Nicholas Sparks. I mean, he's been writing for so long. Maybe you have a favourite. Remain will pull you into a chilling mystery where love is the only thing strong enough to save a soul. Okay, so that's Nicholas Sparks. Tell me what your favourite Nicholas Sparks is. Okay, I've got a lot going on. I've got a lot to tell you today. I want to share with you some of the authors that I met at Perth at the Festival of Fiction. Also, we've got one others. Rachel Johns, I think we're going to put that up on screen. It's called The Lucky Sisters. Now, Rachel was also at the Festival of Fiction. I just love her, and I know we do. It's her new contemporary fiction, and it's a gripping, emotional novel about family, secrets, and second chances. And there it is. Look at that beautiful book cover there with the flowers on it. So that's Rachel Johns, and that's her new book, and we'll talk more about that. But tell me what your favourite Rachel Johns book is. Anyway, welcome everyone. Cheryl Arkle, what are you reading? Okay, who have we got? Let's see. We've got a few people on today. Carolyn, hello Carolyn. Carolyn says, hi Cheryl. I had the pleasure of reading The Impossible Fortune by Richard Osman, which was great, and The Rest of Our Lives by Benjamin Markovits, which was shortlisted for this year's Booker Prize, an excellent novel, and I'm so glad I got to read it. You read right across the board, Carolyn, from Booker Prize winners to all sorts of books, which I really love, and I also appreciate the personal comments that you send me, so thank you. Okay, guys, what are you reading? Let's find out what everyone is reading. What have we got? Christine says, good afternoon, Cheryl, and good afternoon, Better Reading. The team are here. My brain trust is sitting right here. Emma Fitzgerald says, hi, everyone. Kaz says, hi, everyone. I'm about to start The Lucky Sisters by Rachel Johns. There we go. Are we going to put that back up? The Rachel Sisters by Lucky Johns, we just talked about that. Kaz, tell me, have you got a favourite Rachel Johns? What have we got? Colleen says, hi Cheryl, I'm reading Hot Ground by Lisa Ellery, great rural crime novel. Thanks, Colleen. We've got the podcast link to Soren's book up there, so there's the podcast there. And I think we've got the podcast link for Authors on Authors with Michael Connolly and Candice Fox. I think we're going to put that up as well. So Malvina, hi Malvina. Malvina says, I'm reading Mother Tongue by Naomi Brown about a woman-wife mother who wakes up from a coma after an accident speaking French. She's just woken up, so I'm powering on. Speaking French, wow. Okay, that's interesting. I think I would like to wake up one day and be speaking another language. Anyway, tell me what you're reading. What are you guys reading at home? Deborah says, hi, I'm still reading The Secret of Secrets by Dan Brown. Good one, and it was a big book, so I can see why you're still reading it, Deborah. Julie says, hi all, having just started Before It Breaks by Dave Warner. Speaking of which, Dave was at the Festival of Fiction, and he is fantastic. He wasn't on any of the panels that I moderated, but he and I had a drink, and he's just such a great crime writer and a great friend to Better Reading, he and his wife Nicole. So I hope you're enjoying that, Julie. Emma says, I'm currently reading You Like It Darker by Stephen King. It's very good. His short stories are amazing. Do you know, I agree with that, Emma. His short stories are amazing. Here we go, the new Dave Warner book. It's called Double Espresso, right here. Which one were you reading? You're reading the one Before It Breaks, but there's Dave Warner. So that's out now as well. Okay, what else have I got? I want to talk to you about Come to My Kitchen. You know how we started that promotion of authors cooking in my home kitchen? We have just released, is this the third one that we've done? I think, yeah, third one. And we're going to put a little bit up for it now. For you guys. Hi everyone, Cheryl Arkle. This is a segment where I cook out of a cookbook. Today, out of Jock Zonfrello's book, I am making butter, and then with that butter, I am making a lemon loaf cake. So, come to my kitchen. So that was the Jock Zonfrello, and as you know, Jock sadly passed away. So it was his wife that finished putting his book together. And of course he wasn't in the kitchen with me, but it's a really beautiful book. I think we've got a copy somewhere in the office, have we? I think it's, yeah. Oh, we've only got samples. Okay, well have a look. We might put the cover up a bit later on. Have a look, really worth looking at. It's a really lovely cookbook. I did make the lemon loaf cake, but I also made the butter, and I used the butter to make the lemon loaf cake. Anyway, we're having great fun with Come to My Kitchen, and we've got, I think, 4 or 5 coming up before Christmas, so stay tuned. Okay, here we go. What do we got? Who's reading what? Emma, I'm currently reading You Like It Darker. Oh, we've already read that. Alison says hi to everyone. Christine says, I have just finished The Butterfly Woman by Madeline Cleary, and what an absolute brilliant read, she says. Thank you, Christine. That is that's a raving review, I'd say. Alita says, hi Cheryl, I'm reading The Impossible Fortune, another entertaining read. Julianne says, with Halloween close, I've gone the spooky path and I am reading Frankenstein. Gone back to read a classic. Good on you. What am I going to tell you about? I'm going to remind you about our podcast. We're running a huge podcast promotion. Of course, Honey from the Ground is going to be one of them. But we're also taken out some podcasts out of the archive, like Matthew McConaughey. Who? Oh, Richard Osman, who we've podcasted twice. So there's going to be a whole lot of podcasts that we're just going to bring up and favourites, I guess we're calling them, for you guys to listen to. If you haven't listened to our podcast, you should. They're available on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you listen to podcasts. And if you do like them, please give us a rating, because it just kind of pushes us up the charts. Okay, all right, back to what are you reading? Tell me what you're reading. Now, what I want to go through, I've got a stack of books here that I want to talk to you about. These were all the people, well, not all the people, I met a lot more people, but these were some of the people at the Festival of Fiction that I spoke to. Alan Carter, who you all know, crime writer, who's published by Fremantle, which is over in Fremantle, Western Australia. He was there. This is his new book. Had many great conversations with Alan, and he's a great writer, and I know a lot of you like him. Andrea Thompson was on my panel. I moderated a couple of panels, and I think the panel that Andrea was on, the question was, do all heroes wear capes, I think. Anyway, she was fantastic fun. This is her book called Geraldine, and I also recorded a podcast with Andrea, so that's a really good book to look out for. Cheryl Arkle, what are you reading? Tell me what you're reading. You know who else was there? My favourite, Michael Rowbotham. I know that you know I love Michael Rowbotham, but I know that you guys love Michael Rowbotham. He is such a great writer, such a great crime writer, and he's a great friend to Better Reading, and he's just a great guy and a good conversationalist. I wasn't on any panels with him, but I had a few drinks with him, and that was great fun. And also Benjamin Stevenson was there, who's a super nice guy. Now, fun fact, Benjamin Stevenson is a twin. And he and his brother, twin brother, and I've forgotten what his name is, the twin brother, they have a stand-up comedy act. So he's not just a talented comedian, but also a talented writer, and he was there. I also met Michael Trant. He was on one of my panels. Actually, he was probably on the same panel as Geraldine. He was on that same panel. And his new book is called Blood and Gold. Now, I don't know whether Michael used to be a farmer or a pastoralist or is still that, but that is his background. I don't know if he's working, he's given that up in his writing, but either way, that's his background as a farmer. And I tell you what, if you meet him in person, you certainly know that he's a farmer. But here he is writing crime. So there you go, Blood and Gold. Have you read any of Michael Trant's? Let me know. Okay, Cheryl Arkle, what are you reading? I've got a few more things coming up that I need to go through. The guys have given me a list. But firstly, we're going to look at some of the comments. Okay, what do we got? Julianne's reading Frankenstein. Now, Deborah says, I have Burial Rights on hold at the library as a recommendation from the ABC Radio National's Top 100. Absolutely, and I think Burial Rights came in at 9 or 10. Anyway, in the top 10 on that list. I saw that yesterday. Gail says, hi Cheryl, have just started Three Boys Gone. Meryl says, I'm reading The Community by Christine Gregory. Alison says, I'm about to start listening to Mother Tongue. Naomi says, Outback by Patricia Wolfe. Now that is... I was talking, somebody at the festival bought that book up, and everybody, what a wonderful writer she is. Is that an Echo book, Verity? I think it might be. She is definitely something to watch. Naomi, tell me what you think. What are you reading out there? Tell me what you're reading. Okay, Kaz Lee, The Other Bridget, would have to be my favourite Rachel Johns book so far. Thank you for that. That's what Kaz says. Sandra says, hi Cheryl, I'm reading Rachel Johns' new book, The Lucky Sisters. Sharon says, hi Cheryl, I'm reading The Man Made of Smoke by Alex North. My favourite Nicholas Sparks is The Notebook. Yeah, it's probably mine as well. Yeah. Okay, thanks for that, Sharon. Marge says, hi Cheryl, I'm reading My Sister, The Serial Killer. So many twists, wow. I can't even pronounce her first name, so I'm just going to say Braithwaite is the surname. Anya Khan might be the first name. Okay, Lisa says, hi Cheryl, just finished reading Molly, beautiful prequel, and now reading The Dressmaker. Oh, lovely, that's a nice read. Jodie says that she's reading The Legacy by Chris Hammer. He's another person that I absolutely adore. He's a great friend of Better Reading. He was in here, a couple of weeks ago, doing What Are You Reading with me? And there's his book, The Legacy, Chris Hammer. He is a really super... That's the doorbell. You probably can hear it. We've got some parcels arriving. As you can imagine, I'm in the office and we get parcel deliveries probably on the hour. We're very, very lucky. Chris Hammer, I'm just going to put that up again, The Legacy, a great read. I mean, he just gets better and better. And as I said, he's a great friend of ours. All right, so tell me, what are you reading? What's happening out there? Now, I did a segment the other day on ABC Radio, and the segment was on, and the presenter is a woman called Christy Reading, who I really like. I love chatting with her. But anyway, the topic was on what books have you read about that include travel or a destination that have made you want to go to that country? And I thought I'd ask you the same question because there are so many books that have done that for me. So I've got a few books up here, right? But when I think of what those books can be, I don't know. I mean, there are books like Almost French, remember that? I mean, I think, Paris got a surge of people going to France. There are so many books that are set in places outside of Australia, or indeed in other parts of Australia that you want to travel to. I think for me, one of the sense of places in particular is Tim Winton, who really has, a character in his books, a recurring character, being the environment and being Western Australia and being the ocean. So tell me, is there anything that you've read that makes you want to put that book down and go travelling or pin it as a destination? I mean, there's so many. Verity, can you think of one for you? Tell me what you think anyway. All right.
The Venice Hotel by Tess Woods.
The Venice Hotel by Tess Woods. That's a great one. So Tess had been to Venice, which inspired the book, but so many people have read that book, and you've read that book because I know we've talked about it, and it came in at number 9 or 10 on the top 100. So that has really, I think, gotten people's appetite for travel and to travel to Venice. So what book has done that for you? Tell me. All right, what else have we got? I'm going to go through some of these comments. Marge says, no, I've read Marge's. Jodie was reading The Legacy by Chris Hammer. Emma says, Come to My Kitchen looks great. Can't wait to watch. Thank you, Emma. We've got 3 so far. We've got Jock Zonfrello's book, Legacy book. We've got, Karima Hazam, Sofra, that's out. And then we did, I think, Yotta Motalengi, Brookie from Brookie Cookie, and who else was in that? Jamie Oliver. So, and there are so many more coming, and we will share those with you over the coming weeks. So what are you reading? Tell me what you're reading. Tell me what book inspired you to travel to that destination. Do you know, I've just remembered another one, Miss Miller's Feeling for Snow. I think that is set somewhere in Scandinavia, and I remember reading it, one being really cold, I had to go and get a cardigan, even though it was summer, and books do that to you, don't they? But that definitely I still haven't been to any Scandinavian countries, but it is on the list. Okay, tell me, what are you reading? Kathy says, hi Cheryl, my TBR list is too large to mention. Yeah, I hear you. Jenny says, hi Cheryl, I'm reading Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil by Victoria Schwab. Not my usual genre that I read, but I'm surprising myself and really enjoying it. Absolutely. It's nice sometimes when you read outside of something that you're comfortable with. Deborah says, Cheryl, were you in Perth on the telethon weekend? I wasn't. 90 million was raised. Wow. What was that raised for? No, I don't know anything about it. Tell me, Deborah. Sandra says, I've read Michael Trant's first book and met him at Rachel John's retreat last year. There you go. And here he is, Michael Trant. Alita says, being a big fan of Austin, I was thrilled to go back to Bath in 2019. Absolutely. Alita says, I've also read The Venice Hotel because I love Venice so much. So that's The Venice Hotel by Tess Woods. Okay, Gail says, read many books and made me way to go. Oh, read Mary Moody books and made my way to France, and people thought I was her. Wow, do you look like Mary Moody? That is fantastic. I love that. That was so big at its time, Gail. I like that story, thank you. Emma said, since I was 11, I just wanted to go to Costa Rica because of Jurassic Park. There you go. It's a bug, right? Kathy says, Eat, Pray, Love made me want to travel. Actually, that did too, for me. That's Elizabeth Gilbert. And I remember not wanting to go to India, but I think it was Mexico. And where else did she go? Anyway, I agree. I felt the same when I read that book. The Butterfly Women was a great read, Marge says. Deborah says, 90 million raised for Perth Children's Hospital. That is fantastic. Wow. That's great news. Thanks for telling me that. Kaz, she's read Bold and Gold as well. Lisa says, Cheryl Strayed's Wild made me want to walk the trail. That book was fabulous. I just love that. And I think that, ignited so many people's desire to go walking and to find themselves and to challenge themselves and to push themselves out. I mean, what a wonderful book. And I think that she's a great writer, and that book still sells. Malvina said, Great Expectation by Dickens made me want to visit Rochester in the UK and its surrounds. So excited when I did. That and London are Dickinson's country, and that is indeed true, Malvina. Thank you. Kathy says, and this is true, Hannah Kent also makes me want to travel to Iceland. That is so true too. Sandra says, Under the Tuscan Sun made me want to visit Tuscany, which I got to do some years ago. Yeah, they are books of their time as well. All these beautiful travel books that, they were travelling for a reason, or they were running from something, and you enjoyed the beauty of their memoir, I guess. Although I think Under the Tuscan Sun, was that fiction or non-fiction? Can somebody look that up for me? But either way, beautiful story. Okay, Joy Bell said she loved Cloud Street. That's the Tim Winton book. And Yvonne says, Hi Cheryl, I'm reading a really great trilogy by Rhonda Forrest. We'll meet again. Okay. Well, Taz says, Hi Cheryl, reading The Secret of Secrets by Dan Brown and enjoying going to the places mentioned in his book. Prague is next on my list. Well, there you go. It's got us all going in terms of travel, right? All right, I think have I covered everything? Have I done everything I'm supposed to do today? Yes, I have. All right, that's it for me today. Thank you so much for joining us. We love this segment. I love having you guys and knowing what you're reading. And I'm going to be back next Thursday. And so I'll see you then. Bye.